Does anyone else remember that time that one Pokemon trainer had superpowers and used them to defeat Lance from the Elite Four with a team half his level and unevolved at the start of the fight? No? Well, that's because you've never read the Yellow chapter in the Pokemon Adventures manga. This chapter focuses on a young trainer from Viridian City named Yellow, and oh my gosh, this is one of the coolest Pokemon protagonists that they have ever made. And I feel like very few people talk about the original characters in the manga, or let's be honest, the manga in general, and it's a travesty. So I'd like to explore what makes Yellow so great. So we're going to look at Yellow's personality, powers, and accomplishments. And hopefully, if I do my job, by the end of this video you'll realize two things. One, that Yellow is one of the best characters in Pokemon that's ever been made, and two, you should have been reading the manga this whole time. But before we actually start with the video, it should be noted that there will be some pretty big spoilers for the Yellow chapter in the Pokemon Adventures manga. Because, well, of course there be. We're learning about Yellow, so we're going to be exploring their entire arc, so proceed with caution. Okay, so Yellow is a young girl masquerading as a boy this entire time, and it's very hard to write the first part of this video without saying she or her in it, so we're just going to get that out of the way now. But now, about her actual personality. Yellow's a very kind-hearted, happy, and, most interestingly, somewhat of a pacifist. In the beginning of the story, Yellow arrives at Professor Oak's lab looking for the current champion Red's Pikachu, as Red has gone missing and she intends to take the Pikachu and find him. Professor Oak intends to test Yellow in a battle, and Yellow wins this battle without inflicting any damage, using Dodie, her Doduo, to run around so fast that it dizzies the Professor's Spearow, and even having Ratty, her Rattata, catching it so it doesn't get hurt when it falls. She loves Pokemon, and she has no desire to see any of them get hurt. She really doesn't have an interest in battling. Although, as seen in this fight with Oak, she has pretty good strategy. While not nearly on the level as other characters like Red or Blue, she's at the very least competent. She also has no interest in filling her Pokedex or catching Pokemon really at all for that matter. The Pokemon that she catches in battle consist of Ratty, the aforementioned Rattata, and Kitty, her Caterpie. And both of these times, she has a different Pokedex holder walking her through every step of it because she's not very good at it. As for her Doduo, it was given to her by a fisherman friend in Johto, and Omni, her Omanyte, and Gravy, her Graveler, are gifted to her by Misty and Brock, respectively. She does later get a Pikachu that she finds in the forest after Red takes his Pikachu back whenever he returns, but she nurses that one back to health, she doesn't battle it. Now Yellow is a fisher, and she does fish and catch Pokemon sometimes that way, but she never battles them or attacks them other than the Seadra that tries to swallow her and Bill. All this to say, she's the definition of lover, not a fighter, or at least at first. She even cries when Ratty evolves into Eradicate because she hates watching them change, which, I mean, sounds weird at first, but, like, imagine you having a friend and then watching them turn into, like, the Beast or something. It would be a bit jarring. She actually cancels all of her Pokemon's evolutions until the final battle of her arc for this reason. This makes Yellow interesting because her initial aversion to battle and evolutions is antithetical to her goal, and she quickly learns that in order to find Red, she's going to have to fight. But despite having to fight in serious situations, and being completely willing to by the end, she always maintains that compassion and kindness. And that compassion and kindness becomes the reason she has to fight, rather than the reason that she doesn't want to. Okay, so this is going to be the biggest reason that Yellow is such an interesting character. Every Dex holder has a special drive or talent that makes them an extraordinary trainer. Red is good at Pokemon battling, and has a natural intuition for combat, giving him the title of the Battler. Now, Blue, on the other hand, is disciplined, calm, and good at raising Pokemon to be the same, giving him the title of the Trainer. And Gold, well, Gold is good at hatching eggs. But Yellow, on the other hand, is given the title of the Healer, and this is because she has superpowers. No, really. In lore, every once in a while, there's a baby born in the Viridian Forest with certain gifts and abilities, and Yellow is one of those, and she has quite a few powers. Firstly, she can heal Pokemon with her touch. Red's Pikachu is severely wounded when it shows up to Professor Oak's lab at the beginning of the series, and by the end of the scene of Yellow arriving and taking Pika with her, all of its wounds are gone, save a little scar on its ear, which I suppose is there to show that her powers aren't literally limitless. But anyways, she is seen healing many Pokemon throughout the rest of the story, but this isn't her most powerful ability by any means. She also has the ability to read the thoughts and hearts of any Pokemon, and this is incredibly useful in it. In one of her first battles of the story, she's trapped in a cave with Bill, the PC guy, because Lorelei of the Elite Four is trying to kill them, which more on that later. But anyways, they're being bombarded by ice attacks and they don't know where they're coming from because they're completely trapped, with only one small hole from when the opening caved in. So she sends out a Pokeball through the small opening, attached to her trusty fishing pole that she always carries, and uses that Pokemon to see what's happening outside. So here we have a mediocre battler that's fairly competent but by no means special, able to make really good strategies because she can read the thoughts of Pokemon and gain an advantage. And this is a fantastic character trait. We have an underdog that has a certain quality or power that gives her the ability to punch up, evening the playing field. And it's the perfect setting to make a character that has a really cool ability that also keeps you on your toes. But she has power that surpasses even this. Yellow has the power to essentially boost her Pokemon's levels rapidly during a fight, and this gets pretty insane. So much so that she's able to fight Pokemon in entirely different power levels than her own and win. There's a scene in the Fire Red and Leaf Green manga in which Viridian City is getting attacked by some bad guys that have Pokedexes. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm paraphrasing here. And when she comes out to defend her city, her Pokemon's level starts skyrocketing so high that the Dex can't assign them a number. Which, first of all, insane aura. And secondly, this shows just how powerful Yellow actually is. She's not built for friendly competition or the league because she's not a huge fan of fighting. She's built to blow you up if you dare threaten to cause harm to her people, and I love it. Another side note about her powers, she also has the ability to move small objects with her mind, but to my memory of reading the manga, this is almost never used in battle, and she usually uses it to move the Pokeball on her fishing pole to make it easier to catch things, again, without battling them. Okay, so you get it. Yellow has powers, and normally doesn't fight. So what is it that she actually does on her quest to find Red? She defeats the Elite Four. Now, in the video games, the Elite Four are the final 4 trainers that you have to fight in order to battle a champion, who, when you beat, you're recorded into the Hall of Fame. They're incredibly powerful trainers. But as we talked about, Yellow doesn't enjoy battling, so why would she want to battle in an organized league? Oh, that's right, because in the manga, they aren't an organized or sanctioned league. They're violent psychopaths that want to kill all of humanity in order to make a utopia for Pokemon. Quick shout out to the manga because all of their chapter stories are always peak, but yeah, they want to kill everyone. In Yellow's first meeting with Lance, he destroys an entire city with Hyper Beam. And when pressed on the fact that he just killed people, he argues that, well, most of them were out of the city for the surfing competition. And then jokes that there may have been a few stragglers that died when he fired it. This man is evil. And Yellow with her underdog team is the only one who can stop him. In the final battle with Lance, all of her Pokemon evolve because of her power, including her Caterpie, which evolves twice and gives her the ability to fly, making her final team of this chapter Pikachu, Dotrio, Raticate, Omnistar, Golem, and Butterfree, against Lance's team of dragons. He has multiple Dragonites, as well as an Aerodactyl, Gyarados, and Dragonair. Needless to say, Yellow is at a clear disadvantage, but at least she can power up her Pokemon because she has special Viridian Forest powers, right? Oh wait, so does Lance! That's right, Lance is also a Viridian Forest baby, and he has all the powers Yellow does, meaning that there's a vast power difference here. But Yellow refuses to give up. She receives the power of all of the trainers that have been there with her from the start of this journey, and fires 1 Megavolt with Red's Pikachu at Lance, defeating him once and for all. During this entire story, she's constantly at a disadvantage throughout it, and yet she has the willpower to press on, and at the end of the day, saves the world from a calamity. And this is just in her story. She does important things in the future chapters as well, but we're mainly focused on her chapter in this video, and honestly, saving the world from a psycho that's trying to summon a legendary Pokemon to kill everyone, I think is a big accomplishment enough to warrant a video. In the end, Yellow is just a very likable character with a very interesting premise, and her power allows her to do amazing things that no one else can. And that's ultimately what makes her so special. Opening her books always greets me with cozy fun times and nostalgia. And if you like any of what I talked about today, I would highly recommend checking out Yellow's chapter of the Pokemon manga. It's volumes 4 through 7. If you liked this video and want to see more, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. This is my first video essay, and I'd love to make more, so any and all feedback is welcome. All peace and love to you, friend. Take it easy.